Hello, this is your number one Fat Asian, and this is my Premier League season review, as told by an American idiot. As we look back on the 2024-25 season, I think it's safe to say that it was one for the birds. Yes, an unforgettable season for the likes of Liverpool, Newcastle, Spurs, and of course, Crystal Palace. Although nearly no one, could have seen this coming at the start of the season. So let's turn back the clock 9 months and set the scene for the season that was. We were coming off yet another season of Man City being inevitable. 4 consecutive league titles, 6 out of the last 7, both feats that have never been accomplished in the Premier League era. This was also the second year in a row of Arsenal bottling it down the stretch, and all of this made us, the fans of this great sport, kind of fucking bored. We were thirsty for anything new, and there wasn't much hope to set us free from Pep's bald-headed supremacy. Little did we know, though, how quickly our worlds could change. Liverpool said goodbye to their beloved Jurgen Klopp, the tired German, taking them from their banter era and took them to the promised land in both England and Europe. And for that, the Kop would forever be grateful. His replacement was a relative unknown, Arne Slot, who had the Herculean task of reviving a Liverpool side that looked tired, wounded, and uninspired just a year ago. We were also coming off the summer of the Euros, where Lamine Yamal sparkled for champion Spain. Arsenal decided to go ahead and add a couple Euro standouts in Mikel Moreno and the sexy Italian Calafiori to the ranks, hoping that this would be enough to push them past Man City this year. And they actually would, just not in the way they would have hoped. Other than that, really, there weren't too many big splashes in the transfer market. Manchester United signed a shit ton of people, but nothing important. So with that, the stage was set for the 2024-25 season of Premier League football to begin. Before we get to the start of the season, like FIFA, I gotta pay some bills.
If you're someone who can never find a mattress firm enough, then Plank is your answer.
Endorsed by the American Chiropractic Association, Plank offers ultra-firm, flippable mattresses designed to promote neutral spine position, improving back health and posture. Say goodbye to compromising between comfort and support, and enjoy the best of both worlds with Plank. We all know how important sleep is. Science bro Andrew Huberman won't shut the fuck up about it. So when I recently moved, I knew I needed a new mattress. I decided to treat myself to a Plank Firm Luxe, the firmest, flattest, and most supportive hybrid mattress they offer. I've had my Plank mattress for 4 months now, and I love it. I love it so much, I got my parents one. Hell, even my dog loves Plank. Don't mind his hideous haircut. But my favorite thing about the Plank mattresses is their Glaciotech cooling technology. I've always run hot when I sleep, but these cool tech fibers help remove excess heat from your sleep surface, leaving you cool and comfortable all night long. I've never slept cooler in my life. And with your Plank mattresses, you get a 120-night sleep trial, along with a limited lifetime warranty. Plank delivers your mattress right to your door. It comes in a rolled up box and is super easy to set up by yourself and position it in your room. And the best part of all this? Plank mattresses are designed, assembled, and shipped from their Arizona factory. This means they're able to use premium materials while meeting you at a reasonable price. Oh, and did I mention that they ship everywhere in America for free? Plank offers 2 different options, the Plank Firm and the Plank Firm Luxe. The Plank Firm Luxe is if you're looking for a firm mattress that contours to your body for the most supportive and comfortable sleep. It's a great option for people who like a more plush mattress. Or you can choose the Plank Firm if you're looking for the firmest mattress possible that isn't made out of wood. And what's dope is both options feature a dual-sided design, allowing you to choose between a standard firm feel or flip it over for an ultra-firm experience, offering truly customizable sleep comfort. I love my Plank mattress, and I think you will too. And if you're looking for a new bed, go to plankmattress.com. Or you can go ahead, click on the link on the top of the description, and get 30% off of your order by using the code FATAsian. Once again, click on the link in the top of the description and use the code FATAsian for 30% off your order. Once again, thank you to Plank for sponsoring this video. Now, back to the show. Let's begin our recap with Chelsea, who at the start of the season seemed like they were still in their banter era. Todd Roly-Boley had become quite a laughingstock and apparently was going to war with other power players in the Clear Lake Capital Group. They hired yet another new manager in team of Guardiola. Maresca had found a bit of success working under Pep and was actually the manager of Leicester, leading them to promotion the season before. And all signs really pointed to more banter as they lost their opener quite convincingly to defending champions Manchester City. But funny things can sometimes happen when you spend over $1 billion on new players, and that is occasionally 1 or 2 of them might actually be talented. Yes, Cole Palmer had emerged and become a revelation last season. After being buried on the bench for so many years at Manchester City, and given the shot at Chelsea, he became one of the best players in the league. But I would argue that the player that really turned around this team, at least this season, was one that wasn't so great. In fact, many would refer to this player as mid, but he would arguably be the most important player in turning around the banter era of Chelsea. Let me explain. I believe in my heart and hearts that the moment Chelsea rediscovered themselves as a top 4 club was when Noni Madueke accidentally made a private post public on IG how he felt about Wolverhampton. and that was everything about it was shit. He made this public before the match and went viral, and then proceeded to drop a 40-minute hat trick on their heads. And it simply was iconic. Arguably the moment of the season for me, for any club. And from that point on, at least for the first half of the season, Chelsea absolutely flew, taking them as high as second by Christmas and making them shock title contenders by mid-season. Cole Palmer was looking like one of the best players in the world, and Todd Boehly had all of a sudden made up with all his Clear Lake Capital buddies. Everything was coming up Millhouse for Chelsea. It was as if the London Blues had finally risen from the ashes of Roman Abramovich and restored themselves to the glory of their oil money days. But it was then, in this moment, when they were closest to the precipice, that Maresca issued a prophetic warning. When the press asked him if his team was in a title race, Temu Guardiola responded by saying that no, they were in fact not ready for a title race. And he could have not been more right, because from that moment on, it was as if Delilah had cut off Samson's hair. Chelsea lost their mojo and could never find it again. And a perfect microcosm for their performance over the second half of the season was when their fullback, Marc Cucurella, became a major brand ambassador for Puma's new 210-pound state-of-the-art football boots. And the first game that he wears them, he slips twice. Both of these mistakes leading to Spurs scoring twice. And after the second goal goes in, he runs off to the side, throwing off the Puma boots in disgust, and then putting on his old Adidas boots. And then after the game, posting a picture of these 210-pound Puma boots in the bin on IG, apologizing to Chelsea fans. Puma must have not been too happy about this. And just like Cucurella, they kept on slipping. Palmer had a huge drop in form, only managing 1 goal in his last 15 games, and they fell as low as 7th in the table. But much like Cucurella changing his boots, they were able to regain their footing and finish strong enough, at least to secure a top 4 finish, returning them to Champions League form for the first time in 2 seasons. And they even got a bit of silverware, winning the Conference League final. So all in all, a regenerative year for Chelsea, although they did peak a little bit early. But all things considered, I think Chelsea fans would be pretty happy with how they've ended up. Let's move on to what will go down in history as a glorious aberration. I don't think we collectively appreciated the season Pep's Man City had. How quickly forget how this team had made the Premier League so boring 6 out of the last 7 seasons. They're the ones that have put this once great league into a constant state of limbo. As the 2024-2025 season began, it looked as if they just hit repeat on Spotify, opening with a comfortable win over Chelsea and following that up with 2 back-to-back hat tricks by the Norwegian Viking they deploy up front. Yeah, it was looking all pink and rosy until September hit in a fateful game up against Arsenal, in a match that would define arguably both of their seasons, as crucially, Man City would lose their Ballon d'Or winner Rodri to a brutal non-contact ACL tear. Not to be outdone, Trossard got himself a senseless second yellow, allowing Man City to come back and tie it late, which prompted Erling Haaland to bounce a ball off of Gabriel's head, and then at full time, went up to Mikel Arteta and said, "Hey, stay humble, eh?" In a moment that would be memed for the rest of the season. And honestly, neither team came out better for it. The injury to Rodri pretty much single-handedly sunk Man City's season. From match day 10 to match day 17, they lost 6 out of 8, and unbelievably, during that stretch of time, were the worst team in the Premier League. And you know your season's going wrong when Gvardiol is your most clutch goal scorer. And for the first time, we saw Pep rattled. He had to throw up a 6 to the crowd. Like we forgot the last 7 years. Bro, you're ready to go. What are you doing? This is also the final season for one Kevin De Bruyne. Yeah, sad way to see KDB go. A player who will truly go down as one of the greatest Premier League midfielders of all time, if not the greatest. I mean, who's won more Premier Leagues than him? And that cross, my God, sexier than Jesus' abs. He will be missed, although not by me, because I'm a Manchester United fan. I'm happy to see his ass gone, which, honestly, biggest compliment I can give him. And as Man United were more ass than ever, more on them later. I'll tell you this, watching Man City struggle this year was one of the few morsels of joy that I took from this past year. And then the cherry on top of this Hate Watch Sunday was getting to watch Manchester City lose their 2nd consecutive FA Cup final and having their first trophyless season in what? Almost a decade? Absolute cinema. But while it was all funny to laugh at the misfortunes of Pep and Man City, I know that this will most likely be a blip, an annotation, a speed bump. Lest we all forget, Pep was semi-threatening to leave after this season, go on one of his famed one-year sabbaticals. But if anything, this season rekindled the fire within him. He re-signed to a new long-term contract. And you know the Abu Dhabi group is going to spend huge this summer and refill Man City's barracks with the weapons that Pep needs in order to reclaim dominance in England. And they already have. After watching Omar Mamouche score some absolute bangers after coming in from January, it was like seeing the Death Star being rebuilt in Return of the Jedi. Give them time, and somehow the evil empire will return. So I beg you, all of you, let us all take a moment for one last time to point and laugh at the absolute dog shit of a season that Manchester City had.
because I don't know when we'll get another chance in this next decade to do it. I mean, I'm hopeful. Arsenal's season could be summed up by getting red cards for the most random reasons possible. That and the only consistent theme of the last 3 seasons, injuries. You combine these 2 factors, and they were constantly missing stars for important matches throughout the season. But they kept on getting results, mostly through having the best defense in the league and set-piece cheese. Yeah, they refused to buy a striker once again this year, so they got their goals like someone who found the corner glitch in FIFA and just kept on abusing it. Honestly, one of Mikel Arteta's better coaching jobs, and is now 5th trophyless season at the club. Obviously, missing Bukayo Saka for the most important stretch of the season was devastating, although it did give an opportunity to the young 17-year-old Wanyeri to flash some tantalizing ability. But it was still never enough. Every time they seemed like they might be in the title race, something would inevitably go wrong. Their big victory of the year wasn't even in the Prem. Nah, it was knocking out the unkillable beast Real Madrid from the Champions League through 2 random Declan Rice free kicks, leaving them as the strongest team remaining in the tournament, only for them to fall in the very next round to eventual champions PSG. 3 years now, they've been a team good enough to win the league, and all 3 years, they bottled it. I know the meme is now they are Bottle Job FC, but if you come second 3 times in a row, I think you should be named Cuckold Job FC. I mean, 3 years in a row, I'm going to assume that you kind of like it. And at this point, and this is going to be tough for Arsenal fans to hear because it's true, you become what you've hated. Because Arsenal, you are this era's Tottenham Hotspur. Yes, you have excellent players, certainly a group talented enough to win trophies, but for whatever reason, you are just absolutely allergic to silverware. And the ultimate irony is now Spurs actually does have silverware. While Arsenal had been cucked so hard for the last 3 years, it would make Adam 22 blush. That's a toughie. And now, with the summer approaching and Man City rebuilding their Death Star, Liverpool looking like they aren't going anywhere, the only cure for Cuckold Job FC is they finally have to get themselves a true finisher. So yeah, you better pray that Victor Gyökeres becomes available. I think that's the only shot that you guys don't get cucked again. But knowing Arsenal, they'll probably get cucked on that transfer as well. Now, it's easy just to focus on the teams and the players, but I would be remiss if I didn't take a moment to bring focus to the refs, who were even more shit than usual this year. From the silliness of VAR to some truly head-scratching decisions on field, it might have been the worst refereed Premier League season yet. It was frustrating as ever, but the moment that takes the cake, undoubtedly, was when Premier League referee David Coote went viral when a phone video of him surfaced that apparently showed him sniffing on that cocaina, and then going on a coke-filled rant, saying among other things that Jurgen Klopp was a cunt, and all of this promptly got his ass fired. And only a couple months later, apparently he's paying for his beans and toast these days by delivering packages. Life comes at you fast. Remember, kids, never do coke. And film yourself. Do drugs privately. And on that note, let's talk about a team that made me want to do drugs this season. Yeah, let's talk about my beloved Manchester United. Man United spent the summer giving Erik ten Hag a shiny new contract for his FA Cup win, then went on to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on players to fit Erik ten Hag's system, only for him to last until October. Yes, 2 months is all they gave their newly extended man. In his place, they brought in Ruben Amorim, who was killing it at Sporting with a completely different system in the 3-4-3. And surprise, surprise, the players at United, who never played 3-4-3 in their lives, sucked ass at it. I can sum up this season for Man United in 2 words. Nothing worked. Not the new owner, not the new coach, not the new players. Nothing, absolutely nothing, could have gone worse. If you were to let Man United's biggest hater go ahead and write a script on how bad this season would go, it would probably be less cruel than what actually happened. I mean, how could it be worse? We couldn't score, we couldn't defend, we couldn't stay healthy. We have a keeper that seems more interested in clip farming than ball stopping. And by the end of the season, Ruben Amorim looks like he is aged like Obama post-presidency. Although, he did get a snazzy derby win, courtesy of some clutch-ass play from Ahmed Diallo. I love you. You're the only thing that's good in my life right now. And that was a little welcome to Oasis in the desert of dog shit that was Man United season. They also doubled down on their last-second heroics by breaking the hearts of Lyon fans, with Harry Maguire completing his redemption arc, slapping home a last-second header to punch Man United through in Europa. And that was about it for positives that I can think of, as we lost in the Europa final, punting our only chance for Champions League. But even more depressing than that was we gave Spurs their first trophy in their history, and followed that up by then finishing 15th in the Premier League. Ruben Amorim said midway through the season that this might be the worst Man United team in the history of the Premier League, and the players looked at him and said, bet. The man is a prophet. And yeah, the Man United banter era has hit a new low, with no hope in sight, really. Ruben has given next to zero proof that he can make the system work in England, and the only way to make it work is to completely overhaul the roster. But if you're the new owner, penny pinching Sir Ratcliffe, are you really going to invest heavily in a guy who plays a pretty niche formation, with the chance that if he can't get it going, you're gonna have to fire him, and now you're stuck with a roster full of players that specialize in a certain style of play that will probably not match the next manager you bring in. Kind of like the situation that you had Ruben Amorim walk into. And thus, the cycle of doom repeats itself. It's just a death spiral, just down and down for this club, until I put my head in an oven to stop the pain that is watching Manchester United. Spurs had a season that could be summed up as the duality of man. In the Premier League, they were historically bad. 22 losses in a 38-game season is the most by any team not to be relegated in the Premier League era. That was how awful Spurs were this year. An absolute joke. Made all the more funnier that at the start of the season, Ange Postecoglou declared that he tends to win things in his second season, which was factually true at every club he's ever been at. He actually has won a trophy in his second season. Every single time. All three teams. And even halfway through the season, when they were flirting with relegation, a reporter asked him how confident he was on his preseason remarks, and the Australian doubled down and guaranteed that he'd win something in his second season. But I remind you, he's managing Spurs, not Yokohama in the J-League. The man to the rest of the world sounded delusional, and we all collectively laughed. We laughed, and we laughed, all the way to the end of the season, when he then took Spurs and went on to win the Europa League final, up against my beloved Manchester United, might I add, ending a 17-year-old trophy drought, and pretty much the first major trophy in the Premier League era for Tottenham, begging us all to ask, how the fuck did this happen? How did the team that finished 17th in the Premier League end up with a Champions League spot next year? And for his dark magic sorcery, Tottenham ownership swiftly sacked Big Ange right after the season ended. Truly, a chaotic but memorable season for the North London Cocks. But it also brought us a beautiful moment, a moment for the culture, as we witnessed football's most lovable player, Heung-min Son, finally lift a trophy. All my homies, all the homies, love Sonny. I mean, look at him. Who could hate this little adorable Asian? And to see him finally get his hands on silverware while wearing the captain's armband was one of the most wholesome, feel-good moments of the season. Also, quick shout out to long-servant Harry Kane for getting his first trophy of his career. Spurs fans can remember anything about the 2025 season. It was a year that broke all of their curses, while simultaneously being complete ass, which really is the most Spursy thing that I can imagine. But the London Chickens weren't the only birds to get their hands on silverware this year. Crystal Palace had their greatest season of the Premier League era. Glasner deserves a lot of credit, not just for achieving the Eagles' highest point total in the Premier League era, but also for capturing their first major trophy in their club's entire fucking history. A miraculous FA Cup run culminating in defeating Manchester City in a final at Wembley. Simply brilliant. And to see what it meant to their faithful, old, wrinkly, balding, fat men weeping, witnessing a sight that they thought they'd never see in their lifetime. And they say sport is just a pastime. And it awakened something deep inside me that I didn't know I had, but apparently, yes. Witnessing old wrinkly men happy sobbing is my new kink. Not to be outdone though, Newcastle ended a 70-year-old trophy drought, capturing the Carabao Cup thanks to Alexander Isak losing Virgil van Dijk before sinking a dagger into Liverpool hearts. And as he wheeled away in celebration, he gave us one of the coldest images of the season. Alexander Isak finally looks like he's hitting his career mode potential, and with his current trajectory could become one of the world's best strikers. So I pray to God he doesn't go to Liverpool. And when that final whistle blew and Newcastle had captured the Carabao Cup, it was basically a copy-paste of all the same wrinkly old men, just a different shirt for the Toon faithful. 70 years. 70 fucking years. The last time Newcastle won a trophy was the same year Rosa Parks got arrested for riding a bus. A literal lifetime ago. And to see even more crusty, dusty, knocking on heaven's door, old ass men crying. Personally, I can't get enough. I'm a glutton for it. I just sat there on YouTube looking up video after video of old men crying, just being the meme of DC looking at his phone and smiling. And with all kidding aside, to see what it means to the communities, both Crystal Palace and Newcastle. And as an American, I must say, we get nothing like this. In all of our sports, it's win the league, win the championship, or nothing. And when I first got into football, I thought that these cups are kind of silly. Ooh, actually, I mean, like Champions League, Europa, yeah, those are fantastic. But the FA Cup, the EFL Cup, especially to the bigger teams, it just seemed secondary. But then you see what it means to these long tortured teams like Newcastle, like Crystal Palace, what it means to their fan bases, to win even the Mickey Mouse Cup, and see literal lifelong fans cry and be congratulated by rival fans. Well, how can you not be romantic about football? But in the season of the birds, the big bird was, of course, Liverpool.
On who?
Damn. That was a bad call, John. Holy hell. Well, honestly, no one knew. Not even the most optimistic Liverpool fan could have predicted that some unknown would come in and win the league with the same Liverpool squad that looked completely uninspired just a year ago. They failed to secure a defensive midfielder over the transfer window. So what did Slot do? He decided to convert a primary attacking midfielder, Ryan Gravenberch, into a defensive midfielder. And the man transforms into one of the best defensive midfielders in the league. Yeah, Slot did what I haven't seen all too much of from top-tier coaches besides Pep in the past decade, and that is, he actually did some coaching, and what he transfused in those few months of working with mostly the same squad that Jurgen Klopp had was pretty disgusting. The Liverpool that emerged from Arne Slot's Dutch oven was sensational, retaining the rapid, counter-attacking ferocity of Jurgen Klopp's team while now possessing a more controlled possession game. And what it resulted in was a team that walked the league so hard, they pretty much had a month-long coronation at the end of the season. The most tension Liverpool fans felt the entire year was honestly over future contract speculation. Speaking of which, Mo Salah ran away with the MVP, 29 goals and 18 assists. Although, I'm gonna nitpick a little bit here, he fell a little bit short of a legendary season because he didn't end up breaking Thierry Henry's assist record. But as for his contract situation, he and Virgil van Dijk decided to extend their time in lovely Liverpool, while the born and bred snake Trent Alexander-Arnold jumped ship to Real Madrid, a move made even more despicable when he was revealed to apparently have been secretly learning Spanish for months before he announced that he was going to leave. But that is just minor criticisms for what was a fairy tale season for Liverpool. They were magnificent, as exhilarating as ever on the attack, dynamic midfielders, and a defense that featured the best center back and the best keeper in the league. And I mean, come on, they had an Egyptian god card out on the wing. It's no wonder that no one can touch them this year. And for that, I have to say, congratulations to Liverpool on their second title in 5 years, and the first that they've won in front of their fans, in Arne Slot's first year no less. We will probably never see anything like this again in our lifetime, so take it all in. Take a deep breath and inhale. Get it in, Liverpool fans, because I don't think it's going to get much better than this. It was also the season of the underdog. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the amazing seasons that Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth had. They were flying high, flirting with top four, with Forest being up into second place halfway through the season. But sadly, when the dust settled, sneaky Unai Emery got Aston Villa up to that final European slot, breaking the hearts of Forest and Cherry fans across the nation. The relegation battle looked a little zesty for a hot minute, with Wolves and Everton starting out horrendously. But once again, the three teams that came up got sent right back down. But in that mush, let us not forget Leicester's final send-off to their GOAT, Jamie Vardy. May his Red Bull pounding ways never be forgotten. And my personal favorite moment from him this season was when a ref peeled over from an apparent injury and Jamie Vardy walked up to him, and instead of checking on him to see if he was okay, took his whistle and blew it to stop play. You are a legend forever, Jamie Vardy, and I salute you. Everton enjoyed their last season at Goodison Park, highlighted by a 98th minute equalizer from Tarkowski up against Liverpool. And this was important because it made it exactly dead even in wins, losses, and draws up against Liverpool historically at Goodison Park, and that record will stay forever. Although my personal favorite highlight of Everton this season was the one fan who kept on selling blue flares to Liverpool fans so that when they hit him for the celebration, they were just stuck with a bunch of blue smoke. Oh, fuck. Well done, Everton. As for the goal of the year contenders, there were a couple. Omar Marmoush had some bangers. Alexander Isak and Cunha also had a couple of crackers. For emotional value, I would probably have to go with Tarkowski's goal for Everton, but I think the goal of the season is an easy winner for me, and that goes to Matoma with a diploma, putting his thesis to work on the pitch against Chelsea. A long ball over the top from the keeper, 70-yard pinger, and Matoma tracks it over the shoulder, and the little ninja brings it down with a touch reminiscent of a high-end geisha. Football pornography is the only way I can describe this touch. He sets it down on his boot as if it were made from a memory foam pillow, sends Chalobah into the shadow realm with a crossover that would make Allen Iverson proud, and from outside the box, 20 yards out, shapes the ball around a hapless keeper. This level of Japanese precision has not been achieved since they made the DS Lite, a masterwork of the highest caliber. And to that I say bravo, bravo to Captain Tsubasa. And with that, I think that's all I want to talk about for the 2024-2025 season. For me, I'll be real, this season sucked ass. Mostly because I'm a Man United fan and Liverpool won the league. But it also, I don't know, was kind of boring. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you guys. I mean, beyond the first month, no one really challenged Liverpool. Man City being ass was funny for a little bit, but besides that, the Premier League offered very little intrigue over the final month. But that's just my perspective, and I'm just a biased fan like you. So I'm curious, let me know, how you felt about the season. What grade would you give it? Or some of the favorite moments that maybe I missed out on? But overall, if I were to give this season a letter grade, give it a C+. Yeah, there was a new league winner. There were a couple of funny moments here and there. But I mean, come on. I've watched Man City and Liverpool win the league for the past 8 years. Forgive me if I'm a little bored. But with that was going to be it for me and the Fat Asian. Thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, go ahead, smush your nipple into that like button. Thank you to Alex for helping me edit this video. If you want to hire him, his links are going to be in the description down below. You will not regret it. Thank you to all my patrons who help make videos like this possible, especially my 2 newest patrons, Cow Howe and Jason Eatman. Shoutouts to the OGs in the GOAT tier. We got Elm, Art Matai, Peter Barr, Nyanya Bar, Kyle Stockton, Michael Sense, Isaac Martinez Duran, Higham, Miles Bard, Nanners Piddlesmith, The Fat Austrian, Valente Vasquez, Movadoc, and of course, the one and only double GOAT, Sandra Jeremy. Love you all. Yeah, that's going to be it from me. Until next time.